There was one thing that we piloted, and we piloted it quite successfully. At one of the clinics, we decided to, and if anybody's heard of the article or story about Blue Ocean strategy, we decided to try and change the market. We went out to one center particularly, and we did not sell our brand or our programs. We only sold to them how they make their decisions, and we convinced them to make the decision in every case to let the family decide which product to use. And we said, they are all the same. We are listening to you. We all have good support programs. We are listening to you, so why not let the family decide? And they agreed with us, and they let the family decide in every case. What we had waiting for them when they made the family decide was an innovative packaging that was so child-friendly, this is a pediatric market, that every time the kids even saw our packaging, they picked it every time because it looked like something from Toys R Us, and we actually captured 100% of the new starts at that clinic. Now, we did get out of the market because it was the right decision for Roche at that time, but however, if for those of you who would want to continue to compete, I would suggest that focusing on the splitters is the best way to decrease your profitability. For those in the industry, the best way, for those of you who are in the agency side, the best way to increase your profitability. So maybe that's why the number is as high as 53%. All right, this is a case study we'll spend a little bit more time on. This one's near and dear to my heart. Our sales for this product were $31 million. They had not grown over 3 years. The graph you have in front of you is market share, so two companies spending an awful lot of money. In fact, this was the highest A&P that Roche had of any of their brands. And to think that we do $350 million in 3 oncology brands, we were spending more on A&P in this one brand that was making $30 million a year in a $60 million market. We had the highest, the largest sales force, the largest marketing team, the largest medical team on this brand. Globally, it was strategic. So globally, when they would come in and your bosses would come over and they say, okay, you guys are at 50%, everyone else is above 60%, what's going on in Canada? We would usually default to the unique environment we have in Canada that is unable to allow us to play on an even playing field, and therefore, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And we heard some of that this morning, of course it's true. But if you come into this and you take a look at that graph, you've got 2 years. So again, we had a compassionate use program. We had a patient assistance program. We had a program where we would support and fund nurses to go around and teach people to inject themselves with this difficult-to-inject biologic product. We did sponsor doctors to conferences. We have drugs in our pipeline. We had phase 1, 2, and 3, and phase 4 studies in the marketplace. We were doing investments in infrastructure. And so was the competition. And so when you asked your customers what they thought, they would say, Robin, your 2 drugs are exactly the same in my mind. Yes, they say that theirs is better for this reason, and yes, you say yours is better for this reason, but the reality is if I inject one of my patients with either one of your 2 products, I will get the same outcome 5 years from now in the majority of cases. So, to be fair to both companies in the investment you are making in me, my staff, and my patients, we are going to split the business. And so you're faced with this market share graph, and you're new to this business now, and you've got to go and present to your executive committee. What are you going to do at this time? You're going to decrease your investment, or maybe harvest this? Are you going to increase your investment across the board and just try to outspend your competition? Maybe segment, as we heard a little bit about this morning, and just redirect investment in certain segments. Radically restructure. Or get out of this market? And the answer is redirect investment in specific segments. And now that's a good answer. We heard from Ed just a little while ago that, in fact, all of your physicians are extremely valuable in a specialty marketplace. So if each representative has about 20 physicians and each one of them is all very valuable, which one do you focus in? We did do a little bit of that. You're probably going to think the answer was get out of this market and our sales went up. Not this time. Globally strategic brand, that wasn't an option, nor did I think that that was the right. This is what, I'm not going to show you what we did, but here's the results of what we did. That takes you back to, I think, January 2009. So you can see a dramatic turnaround in November 2008 from 2 years of 50-50 splitting relatively in the market. In fact, the share was on decline for about 7 months. Slightly dramatic turnaround to a market share which, as of last month, the share is now up to 65% in this marketplace. And investment has not increased. In fact, investment has decreased again. So that is my last slide. can probably ask what we did. I went to a meeting for the business unit, and I put up a slide, which I don't have here. It's one of my favorite quotes, but it says, if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance even less. We heard a little bit about the way our sales forces need to interact with physicians in today's day and age. This was clearly not about differentiating your brand or coming out with new messages. This was clearly not about putting more innovative programs out there, because whatever one company did, the other one matched, and so your share would just jostle between 3 to 5% in any direction. This was clearly about a way of doing things differently, doing the right things, and making sure we had the right people in place. So we did radically restructure. What used to look like 3 sales managers is down to 2 sales managers, 16 representatives is now 12 representatives. Many of those 12 representatives aren't the same people that were in place before that. The marketing and the medical team also look significantly different today. Now, it wasn't a complete overhaul, but it was a change in mindset, and that we decided that we needed to differentiate ourselves with each customer as an individual. We fired many of our customers. You know, it's a tough word to say, but there were some customers that we just needed to walk away from. For a lot of those splitters, our plan was to find the minimum level of investment. Unfortunately, sometimes you never find that minimum level until it's too late, until you've crossed the threshold, but you do have to find the minimum level of investment that will keep them splitting the business. For those splitters who you think you can invest a little bit more in selectively to change their mind. So we did a lot of different things, and I won't go into them all now. But you can see that if you do a quick change in mindset, you can change this around on a dime. And this wasn't something that was gradual. This happened overnight. So we made the changes in November. You can see when we were at our all-time low in market shares, and at $7 million in new sales last year over the year before have been the result of that. So profits have increased significantly. So that's it. I wanted to just touch on those 2 things. But the last question you guys have is for, and both of these are strategic decisions that I think are equally viable. The question is, are you playing to win, or are you playing not to lose? We took a lot of risks in that last marketplace. This is basically rhetorical, but it's something you should always ask yourself. We took a lot of risks in that last marketplace, and there was a chance that we could have lost. But we made the decision that none of us were happy to play not to lose, so we decided to do the things that were necessary in order to win. Some cases we got lucky, but mostly it was by design, and we did and have won in that specialty marketplace. So some points hopefully you can take home with you for those of you competing in a highly competitive specialized marketplace. Thank you.